What is up, guys? Welcome to the Unfazed Facts podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things Gym Leader Challenge. I'm your host, Joshua Benson, and I'm here with Jeff Baisch, and we're here to talk about Black Bolt and White Flare, which just came out, I think, a week ago. And it's pretty exciting. There's some pretty cool cards, pretty not so cool cards coming out of this set. We're going to talk about them, but first, there is something that we need to talk about, Jeff. And it's been a question that's been pondering on my mind for a while. And it is, if a lush tree falls in the lush forest, doesn't make a sound when nobody's there.
Nah, dude. It just evolves to stage 1, stage 2, hit you back. Torterra turn 1, boom. No one hears it, it just happens. Evo press, baby.
And before you know it, all 6 prizes are taken by your opponent.
Man.
Out of nowhere. You didn't see that forest until it fell on you. It didn't make a sound. Anyways.
So, for people who don't know, right? Like, if you're not in the know, basically Forest of Giant Plants, a card that's banned in Gym Leader Challenge, is going to get reprinted, conceptually, as a card called Lush Forest, right? And so that's what we're kind of, calling back here.
Yeah. Slightly nerfed. Slightly nerfed.
You can't evolve on the first turn. But besides that,
can't evolve a basic on your first turn.
Can't evolve a basic. And Josh was like, what if you're playing Wally and Salvatore and you do that and all of a sudden you can evolve into the stage 2? I'm just like, Wally and Salvatore.
Why do you give me so much sass, bro?
They're bad cards. So yes,
give me so much sass. Give me that head nod and everything.
Can I say I'm feeling sassy today, man? I got a little Baisch sass. But yeah,
I did
play those bad cards in your deck, please. I guess the real question is we talked about this too. How long is it going to stay around? No idea. Do we need to play Guzman, Hala, and Grass now? Who knows? It just becomes kind of a thing. But Grass has needed some help, Josh. So I kind of want it to stay and be balanced, but I'm not sure if it can be those two things.
Yeah, whenever I saw it get announced, I was like, well, that's insane. I wonder how long that's going to last. And we talk about Grass being one of the not so greatest types right now. I'm feeling good right now. I'm not going to just bash into the ground right now, but it's not the greatest type at this moment. But with that help of that stadium, during the time that stadium was legal, that deck was doing really, really good. It was really fun.
Yeah, Grass was top, dude. People at the GLC's conception and early days, Grass was top, man. It was so good. And then it slowly fell off. And it might just be because people haven't been playing as much recently too, but yeah, Grass needs some help. Evolutions really need some help too. So you look at this card now and you're like, man, you've got big basics being recurred in Snorlax decks and Dragon decks, and Psychic's got 1 or 2 that are pretty good. Is it time for there maybe to be a deck that's let's just get evolutions in play like they're big basics? Maybe. So something to think about as we're going forward. But hey, we got other cards to talk about too, Josh. That's one for the future. But you guys know me, I'm a Chikorita fan. We got a new Meganium that's going to be coming out. So I'm super excited about that. Playable, probably going to fit into an existing archetype, but probably means if you're someone who likes Meganium, you're not going to be playing the other one the quick ripening herb Meganium anymore, which is a little sad, but there's a good one. We get to play it.
Yeah, and with that Meganium coming out, though, it's going to be disappointing. That's going to kind of got slightly better stats than Venusaur, as you said before.
Yeah. The old, the Gen 1 and Gen 2 in me. If you're as old as I am, you're like, which one's the better one? And obviously, Bulbasaur is peak design, but that Venusaur art on the Jungle Totem Venusaur is abysmal, dude. That is terrible art. So the fact that this new Meganium's coming out, it is a Meganium line. It's got good art. Ship it. The only reason to play the Venusaur line anymore is for the Bulbasaur that has the Find a Friend attack. So as soon as we get a good Chikorita, not even a debate, better stats, easier retreat costs, can actually KO something, and it's a leaf dinosaur, not a plant frog.
What's better than that? Not a giant plant frog, but a leaf dinosaur.
Give me leaf dinosaur, baby.
That's what we're gonna go for.
People call Chikorita kind of a lazy design. I kind of like it, like simplistic. I kind of like it. I mean, look, it's just got a leaf on its head. Just got a leaf.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And most starters, I think starters for me, anyways. After 3, I didn't really like the starters. I just kind of started whatever game I started playing with until I could get rid of my starter, and then I would just put my starter in the box, the PC. But Gen 1, 2, and 3, I always enjoyed the starters.
Yeah,
grass starters, however,
my starter's got to be 4 legs. Can't be standing up. But that's the only that's my thing. They gotta look like an animal. I need them an animal.
Okay. Well, what if it's for alligator, and you see a alligator on his hind legs a lot? You see him standing up. Does that count, or do you're like, okay, I know that he might walk more with his arms or legs or whatever you want to call those things?
I don't know. I think that alligator looks less like a person than a lot of the other ones. If you look at Imbor, or what's the fire cat one that literally has a championship wrestling belt? Delphox. Those are clearly people, So I don't want those. Alligator probably gets a pass because it doesn't look like a person. I just want it to look like a creature. And if you like Pokemon that look like people, you're capturing them and putting them in balls. You're capturing them.
What about Machamp then? What about Machamp? What about Machamp's line?
I don't know, dude. Fighting Pokemon are weird, right? Because
that one just really threw me off.
Yeah, they're just weird. I actually don't like fighting Pokemon. I like Hitmons as a deck, but I do not really like fighting Pokemon because again, they're people. They're just people.
Are the clothes they have on clothes, or is that flaps of skin?
I don't know.
in the shape of human garments.
Donna, if we're going to get into this, we got to talk about Kadabra and Alakazam. Aren't they basically smarter than people? Too? Isn't that the whole thing? Can they get into people's minds and communicate? Now you've got a thing that's smarter than you in a Pokeball. That's the original AI right there, dude. That's Alakazam, man.
Yeah, Mr. Mom Jinx, dude. It's a giant rabbit hole we could get into. Maybe we could make a whole podcast about that.
Different day. But
Gym Leader Challenge Pokemon lore. Anyways, we got Black Bolt and a White Flare to go over. We're going to have some fun kind of just scanning over the cards, letting you guys know what we think might do well in some decks, what might not do well, might need a little bit of, deliberation in decks, try to figure out if it works, if it doesn't work. Because sometimes, there's cards that we didn't think were going to work and they work really well, or vice versa, where we thought they were going to work really well and they do not. So we're just going to name some of those cards today, give you guys something nice to listen to on your commute or while you're doing something. Without further ado, we're going to get into our first guy, the fungus Pokeball himself, Among Us. There's a fungus Among Us, and this Among Us, 120 HP, stage 1, has the attack that's slightly off center. I don't know if you notice, it feels slightly off center with all the text that's on there. But it's dangerous reaction for 30 plus, just only 1 energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 120 damage. Now, I don't know about you, Jeff, but 150 damage for 1 is quite good, even on a stage 1. And you compare this with cards that you put out there, such as Hypnotoxic Blazer, to automatically just poison your opponent's active Pokemon and possibly make it go to sleep. So you can, if it's not going to knock it out with this powerful attack and being poisoned at the same time, then it might stay asleep. And then with Weeping Bell, just give it a special condition, and then boom, you're doing 150 damage.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to play this in your grass deck?
I don't know, man. I like the gimmick of poison. Don't get me wrong. special conditions are always tough, right? Because like, not only 100%. Do you need like everything to be going right on your side, but you're also playing into something that's like synergistically like worse than just taking a KO. So like, poison, there's a lot of things going for it. Don't get me wrong. Like here we see the Weeping Bell with the dangerous mucus that poisons, and burns on evolution. You mentioned Hypnotoxic Laser. There's an Ariados that makes both actives poisoned, except grass Pokemon. So in a grass deck, it just makes their active poisoned. So there's like all these cards that you can run. Excuse me. You can run to make this work. It's just like it all needs to go well. And then when it doesn't go right, it's worthless, right? That's the issue. Like 30 for 1, not a good rate on your stage 1. 150 is good. So it's just like, do you want to play into this? Yes, please do. Cause like, it's a really cool thing. There's, what's Venonat's evolution? Venomoth. Venomoth that like snipes if the active is poisoned. There's like a lot of really cool poison grass type Pokemon that I want it to work. It just always feels a little underwhelming, but again, it's not going to stop people that love this archetype from playing it, and it's not going to stop me if I'm in the mood. So, hey, try it.
Yeah, I mean, in like a lot of these cards aren't going to be in your top decks because not every card that comes out is going to be like just this meta warping, extremely awesome, amazing card that comes out. It might just be, you might be a giant fan of Among Us and you finally got a card that you can use to play at your locals and just kind of have fun a little bit. And, I mean, go for it. Go for it if Among Us is your favorite. If it's not, don't play it. Don't play it if it's not your favorite.
And we got so many mushroom Pokemon too. So like if Among Us is your favorite, I mean, you got Parasect to choose from. You got,
you could just play a mushroom deck.
Dude.
Yeah, you could play a mushroom deck, dude.
Mushroom Tribal. Let's go.
Hippies unite, bro. Let's go. Ooh, okay. We got the Rain Dancer, but instead of rain and water, we're raining fire. We're raining fire down in this place. We got Embor, 180 HP, straight upgrade from the old Embor that we had back in the day, but 180 HP from 150. We have pretty much the same attack for 3 fire, 1 colorless, heat crash for 120, 40 more damage. And then we just got a heavy retreat cost of 4. Now this might re-liven some of the fire archetype that has a little bit of rain dance effect because you can, for every fire, however many fire energies you have in your hand, you can put out onto the field in play. And it also comes with the optimal Tepig as well, which is really good for us. But I mean, unless if you planned on playing a rain dance fire deck, you don't necessarily, I mean, this Embor has been around for a while. And if we had this and it was even when you're trying to have fun with some things, it's not fun to have the worst deck. And even Among Us sometimes, like even Among Us right now is probably better in that grass deck than this is in a fire deck, just because fire is always asking for a lot. They already have a lot they can work with. They have a lot of good cards in their decks. Like, what you mentioned earlier, Welder, you have Fire Crystal, you have Giant Hearth, you have all these different things. You have Magma Basin. You have all these different ways to get energy out on the field. You got Charizard, which doubles energy along with all that stuff. But we didn't really see any, rain dance Embor stuff. And really the only things that you'd be rain dancing to optimally would be your Entei, your Blaze Ball Entei, and maybe some of your high, like, man, my names are escaping me today.
Heatmore, baby.
Jeff. Heatmore, yes, Heatmore. You knew exactly where I was going with this. Your Heatmore that requires, 6 energy to be able to get out all of it. It's 180 snipe as well as its 90 to bend or whatever that attack is. But
90 active, 180 bend.
Yeah, 90 active. I couldn't remember if it was backwards or forwards, but you just didn't see Embor being played during that time too much, even during that time where we didn't have the better Embor.
Yeah. I mean, like when I got into Gym Leader Challenge and you looked at the Tricky Gym website, the traditional fire list at that time was Charizard Emboar. You played the 2-stage 2 lines, you recurred fire attackers, which have gotten better over time and have had, less energy requirements as well. You mentioned the 6 from Emboar, or not Emboar, from Heatmore. It's gotten, we're not even seeing that card really being played. We're seeing, Chi-Yu, which is 2 energy. You're seeing Gouging Fire, which is 3 for 170. So like the rates have gotten a little bit better. And it's just like, how much bench space can you ideally use in a fire deck now anyway? Cause like Macargo plus 1 of Salazzle or Rapidash are going to take up 2 bench spots. And then if you're playing Emboar, you probably have to be playing Charizard. And so you're just like leaving yourself so open to Avery or a Parallel City. So it's just really hard for me to imagine that because we've got 30 more HP and it could potentially do 120 for 2 energy if you have a Charizard in play, that this card is automatically going to just change the way that Fire has been the last couple of, really months since Blaziken's got printed. But it's definitely like an option to have. It's cool to see them going back and revisiting some of these cooler cards, and trying to kind of give them a buff to compete in what the current card pool looks like. So those are my thoughts on Emboar.
Yeah. And then fire is kind of, for the rest of it. But we got Volcarona. Volcarona is a stage 1. And it has the ability toward scales. You must discard a basic fire energy card from your hand. In order to use this ability once during your turn, you may make your active opponents Pokemon burned. And you can pair this up with, we have Infernape here. Put 6 damage counters instead of 2 on your opponent's burned Pokemon between turns. So to do this specific archetype that you'd want, you would have to have a stage 2 line along with a stage 1 line. And hopefully you have that fire energy in your hand to do your wonderful 6 damage counters during that time. What do you think about this, Jeff?
Yeah, there are other like this Flaming Fire ability. There's some other cards I think in the mix too. I think there's like a Magmortar that's just a stage 1 that does like a similar thing that the Infernape does. So there's like a lot of different options that Burn has, but Burn didn't really have like an easy burner. Like you had to kind of like use attacks. So Toward Scales is kind of nifty and it gives that flexibility to be able to just kind of like burn whenever you want to. And then it also, like the fact that you discard it kind of synergizes with what Fire has going on with so many like attach from the discard pile effects between like Mela and Magma Basin and Blacksmith. So Volcarona, definitely a card to keep your eye out for if you're a burn lover. But burn, just like we mentioned with poison, I think burn is way worse than poison is. So if you're looking to play burn, do this, but will it see competitive top tier play? Nah, sadly. And I think you could even say that for fire. Will fire see competitive top tier play? No.
You had to even go there and say, you had to go and burn fire a little bit more, didn't you?
Okay. Hey, you guys know me. I have to hate on something right now. I'm hating on fire. All right.
No, we're not even done with it. We still got one more fire guy.
It's bad. It's a bad card.
We got Yeah, this one's pretty cool. It's got Chandelure. It's a stage 2, 150 HP. Has the Incendiary Pillar attack for 1 fire, 50 plus 10 more. Well, 50 plus 100 more damage if you have 10 or more basic fire energy in the discard. So you got to have a lot, pretty much all the fire energy that you're going to be playing in a Gym Leader Challenge deck in the discard and able to use this attack. So we're not going to pay attention to that one mainly. We're going to pay attention to the Burn It All Up attack, 180 damage for 2 fire, which is really low cost, really good attack, and discard all energy from this Pokemon. And it's kind of easy in a fire deck to really get that back on with the Welder or anything like that. And then it comes with a really cool stage 1. Has the top entry ability Lampent, which if you get that off a top deck, you can just put it straight on to your bench, which is super helpful sometimes. But, I've played Metagross a lot, and that doesn't happen too often. Unless if you specifically put it on the top deck, it doesn't happen too often. But I did have it happen once on the first turn, and it was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I don't know. I be top entering with the Metagross all the time, dude. Like, I don't even like play the extra cards. Like, I'm not even playing like Mallow in my deck. It just happens. You just draw it and you're like, sweet, 3 free cards in a stage 2 in play. That's obviously much better than the Lampet, but I think sometimes just having like one of those random abilities, like you're gonna draw it at some point, right? Like, why not make it be your top deck sometimes? But this Chandelure, you mentioned it, like it's just 180 for 2. It's really cool. Just hate. And maybe hate's not the right word, because I love evolutions in Gym Leader Challenge. I think a lot of us are kind of, we're allured, we're drawn to Gym Leader Challenge because it's like an opportunity for us to play evolutions, or at least when the format was a little bit slower, it was definitely a place where you could play stage 1s and stage 2 and feel kind of comfortable in that kind of area. Now, not so much, things have kind of sped up a bit, but we're getting so many good stage 2 attackers, and there's support with them within the type, but it just still doesn't feel like maybe it's enough. So even though Chandelure hits hard, low energy cost, reasonable card, has Lampet to kind of help cheat it into play maybe a turn earlier than you want to. It's basically effectively giving your deck another rare candy opportunity. Lampet, top entry, get it down. Next turn, you're into Chandelure. It's just falling short probably, right? Because like Skeledirge is a really good attacker. Big beefy stage 2 attacker. Blaziken, really good stage 2 attacker. So it's just like, how many stage 2 attackers do you want to shove into your deck? And is Chandelure good enough to fit up there with those other ones? Maybe. Because 180 is a ton of damage.
Yeah, I definitely think it's probably more of on the fun deck side, if you like Chandelure and playing with Chandelures. If that's your favorite Pokemon again. And that's what Gym Leader Challenge is all about. That's why it started, was because you want to play your favorite Pokemon in a deck. And that doesn't mean always playing the most. Playing in Gym Leader Challenge doesn't mean you have to play the best thing all the time. And I'm just going to reiterate this over and over and over again. You don't have to play the best thing all the time, because, one of my favorite decks is that Jump Left spread deck, and that is absolutely trash. It's garbage. It can be great, but it's also really garbage.
Yeah, that deck's pop off is amazing. And then it
can pop off crazy, but if you don't pop off, you're popping off home. Yeah, you're popping off home. Really sad because you didn't get to do anything with it. But you got to have fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to have fun if you drew into the right evolutions at the right time.
Yep, exactly.
What do you think about this first attack on the Chandelure, though, Josh? The Incendiary Pillar. Do you think there's any chance that maybe like gets some support? Like, obviously, it's 1 energy. It's 50 plus 100 more, so it's 150 for 1. If you have 10 or more basic fire energies in your discard pile, I mean, like fire decks aren't even playing that many, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I was kind of alluding that into like my explanation of that attack, because like most of the time you're going to be playing, let's say most Gym Leader Challenge decks are going to be playing possibly, depending on their attack cost, 7 to 12 energy most of the time. There will be ones, on the extreme low end. Yeah, 12 is a ton, even in decks that rain dance per se. So it all depends on like how much energy you're going to be putting in there, and 12 being the top end. And then there are decks that play even less than 7, like 4. I know like Lost Zone plays 4. Some decks play just like 1 or 2 special energies, but 10 basic fire energies in your discard pile along with the one that you have attached to it is going to be quite something. And you might have it happen one time. You'd be like, yep, 11 fire energies, that's optimal in your fire deck. But it happened one time. I'm guilty of that one time, it being just making that card the best card, whatever card it is, that one time in the deck when it was played. But the attack's good but bad. Yeah. It's a good attack but bad. You have to build your deck badly.
Yeah. Just keep burning it up. Second attack is good enough. Every now and then you'll just chip in for 50 for 1 though, right? Like, yeah.
You know what? That's an easy chip. If you can't get 2 energy on there for the burn it all up, you got your chip for 50.
Chip for 50.
Next up, we got something for water, and really, water is always getting new cards along with Psychic, along with Colorless. And this Samurott, it's not the worst card, but we have Stage 2. It's another Stage 2 for a water deck. And water has all sorts of insane Stage 2s. I mean, you have the most insane Stage 2s in water. And this is just would be overwhelming or better depending on the type. But since this is in water, it's not necessarily too great. For one, the ability is Torrential Whirlpool, and it's basically an escape rope on Samurott. And I mean, you could use this for cards like to partner with Palafin, or just to get things out of the active so you can get back in and, take off something else that you wanted. Or if something's too big, you can get that wall out of the way. But Samurott is just an escape rope on an ability, and then Energized Slash for 1 energy. You have 30 plus, and then it does 50 more energy per water energy, or just each energy attached to this Pokemon. So it's kind of flexible in the fact that it only takes 1 energy to hit for 80, and then you can hit for 130 with 2 energy, so on and so forth. If you have 4 energy on there, you're hitting for 230, much like Wailord does for, I believe, 240, but you just 1 less, 10 less on some of the Wailords. But 230 isn't the worst for 4 energy, but it is a Stage 2, and you got to get it going. And mainly, if you're going to play something like that, you might as well play Wailord, unless you wanted to have the ability that has the escape rope. And you might as well play escape rope.
Yeah. And this is kind of a weird escape rope, though, because you go first, right? Because you switch first. So it's kind of like a backwards escape rope, but still escape rope.
Yeah. And then you could also play it's not Manaphy.
Oh, you're thinking of the Whirlpool Suction is the ability. Suction. Fion.
I used to play Fion. I used to play that all the time back in the day, and I loved it. But that's just like a one-sided escape rope. But that would be better to play than Samurott as well. But again, like we'll always reiterate, if Samurott's your favorite Pokemon, and it wouldn't be a bad one. It's just that water has so many good choices.
Yeah. And even we were talking about this in our build up to the episode. Like, if you just have 2 energy on Samurott, you're hitting 130, which is like the magic number, like the first magic number in Gym Leader Challenge that you have to hit, right? 50-50 plus the 30 damage. So not a bad attacker even for a low energy build. So it's cool. It's interesting. It's just the space and water, and the card pool that they have. It's just it can't find its way to be other Stage 2s with how impressive the other Stage 2s are, or how synergistic the other Stage 2s are, or how good of attackers the Stage 1s are, right? Samurott is already outclassed by the Wailord and the Cetitan and the Palafin that we have on screen. Then you have Seismitoad, which is a decent attacker plus a disruptive threat. You have Inteleon that's never going to be usurped. And it's just man, where does Samurott fit into that design space? And it's just it's probably a tier below all those top cards, just out of the playable, but yet not quite as playable as those other ones.
Yeah, it's a shame, but definitely Samurott, if it's your favorite, play it. But yeah, moving on.
It's just so cool. I hate how cool it is, and how it's probably not gonna make top tier list.
It is cool. If it was in fighting, like you said before, it'd be really good. We got Tirtouga. I always think of Pirates of the Caribbean when I hear this or see this Pokemon. But it's basically Trash Lynch reprinted better on Tirtouga. We got Ancient Seaweed for 1 water 30 times per each item card in your opponent's discard pile. So this is going to be in your opponent's discard pile. It's going to be, depending on how much they have in there, you're going to hit for 30 damage. And we know in Gym Leader Challenge that there is a ton of items being played. So basically Tirtouga is a decent attacker for 1 energy. I mean, it's 100 HP, so it's kind of an odd attack, it's kind of where an odd HP to be at. So you might not get knocked out, but with great power comes great responsibility, and you have the responsibility to eventually. We can come back to Tirtouga, but we're going to go to Carracosta right quick to evolve into this big beefy boy right here. Carracosta, 180 HP, has the Mighty Shell ability coming out. Prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached. So basically, it's just going to be a protection from colorless, 100%, unless if it's like a turbo colorless and they're playing plenty of basics. But depending on how you can handle them, that you might be able to weigh down their resources quite a bit. And then you have a big bite for 1 water, 2 colorless, 150 damage isn't bad at all. And the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So if you wanted to get a hefty Pokemon into the active spot and put them in there and just hit them for some damage and then just kind of win a turnover just a little bit, you can play as Carracosta. I know there's plenty of Carracostas out there that do all sorts of different things now that we got a decent Tirtouga.
Yeah. And this Carracosta reminds me, and I finally remember what card it was. There's a Bastiodon in metal that does like this exact same thing. So that card saw a little bit of competitive play when, colorless was like top dog right before the research ban, because you could play the Pokemon Research Lab in the, in the metal deck and get your Bastiodon, which then basically just stops their deck from functioning. So there's that. Sorry, I got a cough. But yeah, the Carracosta is just like added, right? Like the Tirtouga's the card. This is the card that everyone wants to play.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get back to it here. There we go. This is the card. I mean, fossils are so hard to get into play, but 1 energy, do bajillion damage seems fine, right? Like decks are playing anywhere between like 20 and 30 item cards. Like that's probably about the average that you're going to see in decks. 1 ball guy is already 90 damage, right? They play ball guy, they get the 3 balls, they played them, and that's like what, turn 1, and all of a sudden your Tirtouga, which you get out, is doing 90 plus whatever other items they played. No real way to recur items, so those items are stuck in the discard pile. So Tirtouga only gets better as the game goes on. It's just like really good. So I think this card will pop up and see play. I'm actually curious, Josh, like when I envision this card and like I envision, this plus the Carracosta as well, I kind of see it in a special whales list because it gives you that like 1 energy attacker that you might need while you're setting up another whale, right? But then it also works really well with like reversal because the Carracosta's attack is 3. So like you could just throw like a reversal energy on it and then have like a 150 like stall out colorless. Funny note, the Carracosta does not stop a no energy Cramorant. So Hop's Cramorant can still do damage to Carracosta because it doesn't have any energy attached if it's using the Hop's Choice Band. So kind of some funny like kind of meta manipulation here between these 2 cards, but just something I was thinking about in the build up.
Yeah, it definitely can find a spot into, any water deck, a lo-fi water deck, because it's only 1 energy. You can have just the antique cover fossil and this guy in there, just throw that in there somehow. And then, as you go, just kind of, it'll find its spot. And it could end up in a decent special whales list as just a thing to put in there. And, yeah, I'm excited to see where this guy's going to end up, but I don't know if I'm going to necessarily going to play with it. I'll let somebody else play with it a little bit more.
Yeah. I get the issue with water. There's too many choices, right? So like, again, this card, like Trashalance Garbodor, like basically defined a format. And here we are with like a better version of it in Gym Leader Challenge going like, probably just not quite good enough because fossils are so difficult to get out,
Yeah.
The second the Pokemon Research Lab gets unbanned, which will never happen, it goes in every water deck.
Every water deck. We're putting it in there. It's going in. And then we got Galvantula. When this guy first came out, I thought it was going to be pretty something. I was like, oh my goodness. But I think I had this idea now that I mention it again, I think whenever this guy came out, I was more excited for it in standard and not Gym Leader Challenge. Because whenever I was looking at it these past couple days, I was like, discard all lightning energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 50 damage for each card you discard in this way for 1 energy. And that's just not good in GLC. I mean, it is good, but it's not good at all. It has some synergy with your Dynamotor Pokemon and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of bad. It's not that great. Even if it's your favorite, it probably isn't that great because you're going to be, depending on what you are trying to knock out. If it's a big boy, you're going to have 5 of those on there to get your 250 damage. And that's just not going to be worth it whenever you have no energy out in the field that next turn to respond after they respond to your Galvantula. So, Jeff brought up a good point with Zeraora. Zeraora is just the better choice when going into it. It's a basic. It's doing pretty much the same thing, and it's got better HP stats. So, Jeff, way to put me in my spot there.
Sorry, man. I just like you guys. I love playing Lightning Zone, which is like one of my favorite decks. So like, I've been playing this Zeraora forever. So the second you put this Galvantula, I was like, yeah, it's just like kind of a worse version of this. But the thing is, like, this Joltik, this 30 HP Joltik that has the ability to attach up to 4 energy with 1 attack, just hasn't really seen as much play. And part of that is because like its biggest, synergistic threat that it aligned with was Amazing Rare Raikou, and that card got banned like right as Joltik got printed. So maybe this Joltik, if like you're planning on playing this Joltik and you just don't want a 30 HP bench sitter hanging around, if it somehow survives, then you play the Galvantula too. There's just a couple of different Galvantulas to consider too. So like there's like the Galvantula that can like snipe and can do weakness to the bench, which is pretty cool. And then there's a Galvantula that, if it has grass energy attack, it does like 80 plus 50 for 2 energy, which is just a better rate than this Galvantula. And if you're playing the Joltik, you're already playing the grass energy too. So it's just like, Now that I think about it, that second Galvantula, the one I mentioned that has grass, might actually be lightning energy, and it might be a grass type. So disregard that. But there's a couple of different Galvantula to consider. But this Galvantula is probably just not it. But it is if you're playing Joltik.
Yeah, and you can play. You might play Joltik in like no ban GLC with Amazing Rare Raikou in it. You might do it then,
dude. No ban GLC. Are we at that point yet? Have we been around as a format long enough for us to be like time to make sub formats of the format? Because I mean, I've played a couple of games of no ban
retro GLC formats.
Dude, people are playing retro GLC. I want to play some base to Neo GLC. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really cool. Oh yeah, 100%. We got one of the best cards ever to come out for GLC. We got Dynamotor. This is crazy. I can't believe they put Mareep's ability on the electric.
Crazy. Why would they
Flaffy,
do that?
I mean, why would they do that? Flaffy's back. No, this is an old reprint from back in the day. Electric did come first, except I think the biggest difference on why they didn't errata this, and I'm speaking kind of in standard format, was because whenever you're using the ability Dynamotor, it says once during your turn you may attach a basic lightning energy on this electric, and I believe the old one just says attach a lightning energy card from your discard pile. So I don't know if they're planning on doing something in standard format where they're reprinting lightning, special energy lightning cards or not, but that's like one of the reasons why you can't play the old electric in standard format. But electric, we already got it. The real winner for this one is going to be Tynamo. We got an upgrade for Tynamo. Still free retreat, but it's 10 more HP. Keeps you out of range from those stupid, pesky 30 HP attacks or just little damage counters that can be laid around from time to time. It's a little bit of a buffer, might be just enough buffer to get your electric out by that next turn. So this is the new Tynamo to play 100%.
Oh yeah, that's so good. The free retreat is just the best. Like, we were all playing the 30 HP one because of the free retreat. That's so important, especially in those early turns when you're playing the Zapdos that switches up and does more damage. So like, you need the free retreat. 40 HP is just big because like Monkey Dory is sticking around and it's going to be around for a long time. So, just having that extra 10 HP means that you get to compete a little bit more. And kind of the biggest buff, I think, is just printing electric here, just like as a straight reprint. We saw Embor being printed kind of as a straight reprint with like better stats. I think this might be secretly, and this is a little bit of conjecture, or it's all conjecture to be honest, but are they getting ready to just give us Gym Leader Challenge on live? And the way that they're going to give us the old cards is just reprint them. That's kind of my thought.
Reprint the old cards. Woo! That'd be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool for Standard to get a Colress. Give me a Colress so I can buy a new full art Colress and not have to buy the $100
Battle
old
compressor,
Colress.
baby. Battle compressor.
They printed a card, or they're about to print a card. It's called Shovel. It's just, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a shovel printed on the card, and it said discard the top 2 cards of your deck. It's back, baby.
Oh. Yeah, that's basically battle compressor, right? If you mallow into that, it's just battle compressor. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Because battle compressor says up to, all right, but you have to at least do 1. So, I mean, like, Shovel's 2. That's just the average.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, with that being said, since they are reprinting this in the new set, I believe every card has a illustration rare.
Yeah.
So you might be able to play some really cool Tynamos and Electrics in your decks now.
Yeah. I mean, that's really kind of the big win. And we didn't put the fancy cards up here because they're difficult to read. But like, each of these cards having an illustration art is just going to mean if they're Gym Leader Challenge playable, you can bling out your deck. I kind of like this. I kind of hope to see it in the future. And I really, really, I don't know if I'm on the record for saying this, but I just really love the way that Pokemon goes about printing cards. Cause like, there are pieces for the gameplay that are just like these basic art versions that are like 25 cents or stuff like that. And then they print certain cards for the collectors. So like, you can have your cheap ones to play with, and you can also have your really expensive ones if you're into collecting those cards too. I like how Pokemon does that. And I think they do it better than any other card game. And the fact that they can separate that idea. Cheap for game, more expensive for collectors.
Yeah, and they do it so well that you can't get Pokemon in the wild anymore. You have to pay an 80, 90, 100% upcharge.
The problem's the collectors. The problem, It turns out that the problem is not the product. It's that everyone wants the product. So yeah, there's a problem there that needs to get.
Yeah, that's a total different conversation in itself. But it's just like, oh man, it's crazy. Yeah, we can't get into that because it'll get nuts.
No, I'll get death threats. The school year hasn't even started yet.
We got Psychic, got Gothitol. Gothitol has 150 HP at stage 2 and it has the ability Distorted Future. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck and draw 3 cards. So it's a little bit of hand manipulation, and depending on if you match up with that, you have Synchro Shot, 1 Psychic, 1 Colorless, 90 plus. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, this also does 90 more damage. So 180 damage for 2 energy, and with Psychic or Dimension Valley out there, 1, And then you can also use Gothitol. Maybe you have a air balloon or a float stone on there or something like that. You can free retreat into Iron Boulder, and with that hand manipulation, hopefully you're able to match up hand sizes and Adjusted Horn for 170. So kind of a lot of ways to work with there. And it's like kind of like a double-edged sword with Gothitol, because you could use it in that sense, but also we were kind of talking beforehand, and you can kind of use it for Xerosic's Machinations or Delinquent or something like that if you were playing Gothitol in more of a control style list. as opposed to let's match up and hit with some big damage.
Yeah. It's just like a cool card. It's like flexible in kind of two different builds. You know, again, it has that problem. It's in Psychic. I think there's another Gothitelle that like also like lets you like use an attack and like peek at your opponent's top deck and put them back. So if you're going like full hand control, there might be like a different Gothitelle that you're going to be using. But like if you're going to kind of be, you know, doing the whole like tempo play where you're trying to disrupt and take KOs simultaneously, you know, this Gothitelle is really cool. And it just so happens that, you know, recently with the printing of Iron Boulder, people have been trying to play the mini game of matching hands more and more. So the Gothitelle is kind of like, you know, cute as like a way to disrupt and kind of also get into this other mini game. You know, you could see it also being like, if you're playing Gothitelle, are you going to be playing like Rose Tower? Because like you Gothitelle, you make your opponent go to 3. Maybe you get your hand down and you can draw up to 3 with Rose Tower. It's just kind of like, you know, what does the hand matching look like? And then, yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot. I really, really like the design of it. I'm excited to see what people do with it because like the ideas I have are all over the place and they don't seem good, but they do seem fun.
Yeah. And like we said before, depending on the type that it's in, a stage 2 sometimes isn't the best to introduce into your type. But with Psychic, the way Psychic works is I feel like Psychic, no matter the stage 2, the stage 1, the basic or whatever, what have you, Psychic is just one of those decks that can just change something on a whim and still be really good at whatever they decide to do. Like Water has a lot of good cards, but those cards are just so good that there's not really a replacement for it. But in Psychic, you can make all sorts of different replacements because there's so many different good cards in Psychic, but they're all on the same level. There's not like one that's so much better, like Intellion and then your Rain Dancers and stuff like that. And Water, which are just they are just the cream of the crop. And Psychic, they're all so good. They're all on the same level. You can just switch one out with another for the most part, and you know, have this slightly different style and do well with it.
Yeah.
Not to say that Psychic doesn't have those cream of the crop cards. Like Gallade is a lot of the time a must put in, just because it's always great to be able to pick your own supporter whenever you want at all times, and it has good defense, good HP, and I'm talking Yu-Gi-Oh right now. I said good defense. It's infiltrating my mind.
No, happened. It's happened.
It's infiltrating, but also has a good attack. Also has a good attack for 3 Psychic, or 3 energies, and 160, I believe. And you can also kind of bounce one of those energies for a little bit of energy conservation to something on the bench. So Psychic is just really cool in the sense that you can do all sorts of things with it.
Yeah. I mean, Water, like, you know, if we're going to make this comparison, Water has a lot of like synergistic cards that work really well in tandem, which is why those Rain Dancers work really well. Then obviously Intellion's just busted. But then when you look at like, you know, you mentioned, you know, what stage 2 do you want to play in Psychic? They're all just like extremely singularly powerful, independently powerful cards. I've seen over this year, you know, Gallade plus Togekiss. I've seen Gallade plus Tinkaton. I've seen Gallade plus Dragapult. It's just like pick your stage 2 and then win the game. So, you know, that's where we're at. So is Gothitelle going to be a card that probably wins a lot of badges throughout this next year? Of course, because again, it's Psychic and it just has Gallade plus, and the next best stage 2 is going to do its thing.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen Iron Boulder do so well, and it doesn't even have an ability to hand manipulate by itself, and it does really well. So Gothitelle having an ability to hand manipulate by itself and on its own might even make it be like these are perfect partners always. So yeah, I think that'll be really cool to see.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, because if you use Gothitelle in like a controlling fashion, I could see it be frustrating because no one likes their hand to be ripped to 0, right? But the way that Gothitelle is kind of like worded, like it kind of makes it like kind of the more fun card, because like you're going to be getting your opponent to 3, but you don't want your opponent to have a 0 card hand if you're trying to match hand sizes and then hit them back, right? So you're not going to be using Zorosik's Machination if you're using Gothitelle in an attacking style deck, which I think is just really fair and sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Gothitelle does. Then we got Gigalith coming up. Gigalith, 170 HP, stage 2. And it has the Vengeful Cannon attack for 1 fighting. Does 20 damage for each damage counter on all of your benched fighting Pokemon. And with cards like Donphan, Wishcash, and another basic that's going to be coming out in this same set, you're going to be able to put damage on your own Pokemon like nobody's business with the Earthquake attacks. Earthquake attack is just one of those attacks that a lot of fighting Pokemon have. Quite a bit of fighting Pokemon have this specific attack. And it's just a big number, 120 with Donphan, 140 with Wishcash to the active, and 20 damage to each of your benched Pokemon. And then with that being said, with one attack, depending on how many Pokemon you have on the bench, you can hit up to 100, 200 damage for 1 energy with Gigalith by that next turn if you have everything set up perfectly. And then another round, if you have a 5-wide bench, you're hitting for 400, and so on and so forth. But depending on how many damage counters, Gigalith is just going to be getting more powerful and more powerful as we go.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just like, this seems to be the design space that Pokemon wants to work in. It wants to keep pushing out Earthquakers and then fighting Pokemon that are synergistic with having damage counters on them. You know, we've seen the Hisuian Arcanine that attacks for free if one of your opponent's Pokemon, or if one of your bench Pokemon has damage counters on it. You see the Graplock that attacks for 1 energy if it has damage counters on itself. You see the Great Tusk that does an extra X amount. So here's Gigalith, just another one of the crop. This deck has already won a badge at my locals. Our first badge of the season was awarded to Gigalith Fighting. I got turned to Okie dokie by the deck. I didn't actually get to see Gigalith, but this deck seems really cool. So yeah, give Gigalith a try. I mean, the second attack, we didn't even mention it, like 163. Yeah. That's the same rate that we were just talking about Gallade there. So like, not a terrible second attack either. So like, Gigalith seems to be a well-rounded card. The issue is stage 2 attacker. But again, it just fits into everything that fighting's trying to do these days.
Yeah, and fighting, we won't talk about it right now, but fighting's getting something spicy in the future. We'll talk about that in another sode. But it's could be the best thing that ever happened or the worst thing that ever happened.
Dude, fighting.
That's where I'll leave it.
Grass might be the 2 best decks. How crazy is that for us to even be considering? And I won't spoil it too much, but just like it's blowing my mind. Where we were a couple weeks ago.
It's nuts to think about. It's nuts. Next up, we have maybe a worse, maybe a better. We'll just have to see. Terrakion. Terrakion has a retaliate attack, which we've seen common in the Pokemon TCG. It has 140 HP, so it is like that weird 140, not 130 HP. So sometimes you can stay just out of range of attacks. But it has the retaliate attack for 1 fighting, 1 colorless, hits 50 damage plus another 80 damage if your Pokemon was knocked out by damage the previous turn. And we see this type of attacks in common in Gym Leader Challenge, in regular standard format, and even in Pokemon TCG Pocket, where if you get knocked out prior, you have an attack that can retaliate for 1, 2 energies and hit for more. So it's something that we see common, and we know that fighting sometimes struggles with getting several energy out. But with the help with Raihan and cards like that, you might be able to get a fighting attachment and then another attachment to retaliate per se on the next turn. But there are plenty of other good options, such as the Lucario that we have for 1 energy. It does 150 for 1. And it's just really good as well. But this is just something that might be decent. It's a basic. You don't have to have an evolution for it. You don't have to wait for a piece of the puzzle to be prized. It's just kind of there, Jeff. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you mentioned the Lucario. Like, the Lucario is 1 energy, do 150. It is a stage 1, so you did mention the evolution line maybe being a downside, but I just think Lucario is just like, is better on every level, especially if you're kind of like a lo-fi fighting list is playing not a lot of, ton of energy. And if you're playing like a Colossal list, which is trying to pump energy out from the discard pile into play, like you're missing out on the Terrakion, who basically gives you that stall turn. Because when you cavern tackle, you become immune to damage from attacks. So like that's the reason to play the old Terrakion. 130 for 2 is just like not that ideal in a deck of that style. So I just don't really know, like, even though the Retaliate attack is not terrible and it's actually like a pretty like reasonably statted card, I just don't really know where this Terrakion fits into the world of like where Lucario already exists, or like Okidogi is another 2 energy attacker with like a very similar attack cost. So it's just like, I don't know. So it's cool. It might be like chalk it up for later sort of card, but I just don't see where it fits in now. And I'm going to, at least in my coal list, I'm going to keep running the old Terrakion. And his damage output is a little sad at 120, but man, giving you that stall turn is like sometimes the difference between a win and a loss, and that's not what the new Terrakion gives you.
Yeah, I can get down with that. That's a good way to put it right there. But I will say that this new Terrakion has incredible art, actually.
Oh, I disagree. Have you ever seen the movie Ferdinand, voiced by John Cena?
No.
Okay. As a Spanish teacher, it's a bullfighting movie, so it does get shown occasionally in the Spanish classroom from time to time.
Yes.
This looks like one of like the characters in Ferdinand. So go check it out. It's a Ferdinand card.
All right. Ferdinand card. It just reminds you of Ferdinand. It's not that the art's bad. It's that it reminds you of Ferdinand.
Well, I think the art in Ferdinand's bad. So
okay.
let me go ahead and clear the air.
All right. Speaking of good art, I think Landorus has a nice comic book look to it. It has 130 HP. It is a basic. And Jeff mentioned earlier in our like kind of lead up in this, just to make sure we're on the same page on some things. Earthquake. Earthquake is on a basic, and most of the time you see it on stage 1, stage 2, what have you. But Earthquake is on a basic, 110 to the active, 10 damage to all of the bench Pokemon, to each of yours, not your opponents. But most other Earthquake attacks are 1-2 energy, and this one specifically is 1 fighting, 2 colorless. A little bit harder to get going, but at the same time easier since it's a basic. And other than the art and just the overall presence this card has, I don't think it's as good as Donphan or the others.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not as good as Wish Cash. It's not as good as the Donphan. It's not as good as maybe even like, I think there's a Steelix. It's like 2 energy, but like, it's just cool. Like this is obviously where they want to go with fighting. They put it on a basic. 3 energy for 110 is not a great rate. Plus you're also doing 10 to all of yourself, but it's just a card to kind of look for. I mean, like they even kind of like tried to use Abundant Harvest here. Its first attack. So you could attach energy from the discard pile. So like there is a world where this is attacking on turn 2, potentially with those 3 energy. But even then, that's La La Land. That's fantasy perfect world. So it's just like, it's cool. It's like so balanced, right? You could see like with the card design, they were like, all right, we're going to put on a basic, but let's make it so fair. And they made it so fair that no one's probably going to play it.
Too fair. A little too fair.
Exactly.
At least for GLC.
It's not quick enough, man. Not quick enough.
Yeah, it's definitely not quick enough, especially for fighting. So it's not the best. Speaking of not the best, we have Archeops. Archeops has the ability Ancient Wing. You get to basically devolve one of your opponent's Pokemon into the highest stage evolution on the card that it has underneath. We have this already in Ancient Power form, 130 HP. So we just got an upgrade essentially of 10 HP, as well as a lower retreat. A little bit better attack, but That's not what we're looking at there. We're looking at the ability mainly. And it's just not that great, especially if you play with the card Technical Machine Devolution. You can just devolve everything all at once with one card, as opposed to having to have a whole stage 2 package plus whatever else you might want to have to possibly get it out quicker. And just overall, it's not up to par, not up to snuff.
Yeah. I mean, like the old ancient power was your opponent couldn't evolve any of their Pokemon. You also couldn't evolve any of your other Pokemon. So like the old Archeops with the ancient power ability plus Devo TM was just like your opponent could devolve them and they can't re-evolve them, right?
Yeah, my bad, yes.
But like the Archeops, the new one with the ancient wing is like single targeted, but it's like, I just don't know where it's going to fit. Cause like, if you look at like where Hitmon's decks are at, like Archeops doesn't quite fit in because you are kind of like a spread deck after you snipe. So like that, it just doesn't quite click into that deck. Ting Lu decks are really powerful, but they don't quite have the consistency to I think really consistently put another stage 2 into play, especially since a lot of them were playing Machop or into the Machoke, into the Machamp line.
Yeah.
So it's just like really weird where this Archeops goes, but interesting to note that this is a Archeops that is a stage 2. So you can find rare candy in Archeops at least. But why? Answer me this, Josh. Why does Colorless get an absolutely busted Archeops that just shoots special energy from the deck into play, and then fighting gets like you can't evolve. Like, let's devolve one of your dudes. Just give me the Primal Turbo one in fighting, and it's busted, right? Especially with
it would actually be, yeah. Who knows if that would have ever been banned or not, but that's definitely kind of funny to think about if that were possible.
Give me that Archeops. It'd be so cool in fighting. It wouldn't even be, I don't even think it'd be that overpowered, right? It'd just be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody needs to test that. That'd be kind of fun just to see. Just color a colorless Archeops brown or brown-orange, whatever this color is, and play with it, see what happens. Next up, we got Zoroark into Zoroark. So we got the new Zoroark, 120 HP. So it has 20 more HP, has the Mind Jack attack. We've seen this in the past. But it does 30 damage for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So it's not 10 plus, it's 30 times your opponent's benched Pokemon, but for just 1 energy, not 2. So that's kind of an upgrade there. Then we got Foul Play. Foul Play has 3 energy now to get going instead of 2. So that's kind of a downgrade, but you do have Mind Jack and you also have 20 more HP. And it says choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So it's still there to be able to take out other Wailords, big dudes that have big attacks that I can also use that as those attacks against them. And Zoroark, I mean, this Zoroark's not a bad card by any means, but depending on your game plan going in, you might consider playing the stand-in ability Zoroark. But again, I think this Zoroark is really good, and I think it definitely will see play from several different people. And depending on your game plan, I think, like if you're more in the energy conservation edge, you might play the old Zoroark. If you're playing more of a what's the guy's name? Hit 90 for one. Hapu. Hoopa. I wanted to say Hapu. I also want to say Hapu. I was like, that is not it. Hoopa, you might play the stand-in Zoroark, but if you're wanting to just have fun with this newer Zoroark, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be really successful, you can also play that one as well. So I don't think you can go wrong with playing any 3 of these Zoros whatsoever.
There's even the 4th Zoroark, right? That like the Phantom Transformation one that flips into another stage 1 from your discard pile. I mean, like this card's just playable in so many different printings. So it's cool to see.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of decisions tough, right? Which this new Zoroark kind of makes that decision a little bit, less difficult because you do have a flexible option that's kind of a combination of those two that we put on screen. But again, missing out on the stand-in ability. That's really what made the Mind Jack Zoroark so good, is you could flop and switch with the Hoopa. You could attach a retreat tool to Zoroark, stand in, retreat, then you're hoopaing again. And 90 for 1 has proven to be a pretty successful endeavor in Gym Leader Challenge. So that's really cool. Foul play for 3 is going to be really tough, dude. I just don't see it in Dark. You know, like how are you getting
it'll be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like
tough.
I've seen a lot of lists. Like I've been switching to like a Crispin style list that's running like fire energy with like a Mela package as well. So like maybe that makes it a little bit easier, but losing the double energies does make that 3 even more difficult. But I guess like you're sacrificing a little bit of power for flexibility. But then when you look at like the weakness and the resistance, you know, this has changed. This is grass week now. And we're talking about maybe, you know, grass being a top dog in the future. The other ones were fighting, which fighting might be really good going forward too. But the resistance to psychic is really missing from this one too. So it's just like, I don't know. I'd have to play test it. I think it's a really cool card. It's just like, is the combination of both these cards better than the little bit that each of them gave you before, right? The 1 less energy cost on the foul play or the stand-in ability on the mind jack. So you're losing a lot, but you're gaining a lot. So we'll see if it just like, well, how does it pan out? I'm interested to see, Josh, and I'll probably be playing it. I think I'll probably be playing the new one over one of the other ones too.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those like level out things. It just basically went to where it's kind of like I mentioned in Psychic, where everything's just kind of like on the same level playing field. This is just all Zoros are just kind of on the same level playing field.
Yeah,
they're just so good depending on your game plan. You know, going into that Dark, we got a new basic coming out. Purloin has 60 HP. The attack is really good, however. 1 Dark has the Invite Evil attack. Search your deck for up to 3 Dark Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So just a way to get Pokemon out of your deck and more of kind of like a setup attack. So we have Purloin with Fake Out, has a 70 HP, which 70 HP is one of the more optimal basic HPs, especially with
Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt, dude, my recollection of names is terrible today. Thank you, Jeff.
I got you.
Without you, I would be nothing. Raging Bolt status, because that's one of those, he has one of those snipe attacks where, depending on how much energy he has on there, it's going to hit for 30 damage snipe. So, going to hit for 60 really easily. So, if we can maybe make it a turn or two with this Purloin, we'll be safe. But that Invite Evil attack, if we can get our Dark Pokemon set up really easily, which sometimes Dark has a little bit of a trouble doing that. Now it has this possibly slight buff. You might see Dark do a little bit better, having the flexibility to be a little bit more, a little bit better at setting up.
Yeah, this is interesting to me because, like, obviously the best draw engine that Dark has to offer is the Liepard line, right? So now you're putting Purloin up into the active as a potential, like, you know, return KO after you invite Eve.
Yeah.
You know, so like, is that worth it? And in Dark, where like, you know, discarding 1, drawing 2 is fine, but like you have a lot of different ways to like take prizes with 1 or 2 energies, with 1 or 2 basics, or even stage 1s of that maze. Is drawing 2 necessarily better than just taking a prize? And it's like, I don't know. So like I've often found myself just like in the early games of playing Dark, like maybe foregoing setting up a Purloin Liepard, which, you know, can feel bad, but just like if I search out this card instead, I can take an early KO and draw me a card right away. You know, it's kind of the same thing. So like maybe putting up a 60 HP Purloin to invite Evil is fine, but it does feel a little dangerous for your overall consistency of your deck for it to be on basically your only bench support Pokemon. And so that's where kind of like this debate is coming in. You know, the 10 extra HP matters and what the overall meta is currently. And then, you know, do you want your best card to be in the active? You know, and that's just something to think about. We all used to play Ascension Gibble, right? Ascension Gibble had 50 HP. You attach a fighting energy to it, you can evolve into the Gabite. Well, do you really want to be putting Gabite out there anyway to get KO'd? So that got shifted. I think most people are on 70 HP Gibble now just because like that card is so important to the consistency of that deck. So I think that a lot of people will end up switching to 60 HP Purloin at first. And then I think we'll all kind of be like, I don't want to put this in the active. And we'll all go back to good old tried and true 70 HP Purloin, even though it makes me sad. And this is the Raging Bolt effect, which I have been kind of on my soapbox about a lot. It feels like 60 HP and below basics are kind of getting banned, like soft banned a little bit because of all these
pseudo banned.
Yeah, all these great, like, early attackers into the format. And like the Purloin that I have up here, I have the 50 HP Purloin, has the most beautiful art and has the most beautiful foiling. And like, I can't play my 50 HP Purloin anymore in a serious manner. I got to play the 70 HP one. So that's where my brain is at with this. I mean, that Invite Evil is so good. And I just like, and Josh, I'm going to keep talking. You stop me in a second here, but there's a Rapid Strike Sobble that has a really cool attack that can get you set up. And like putting your Sobble in the active is always bad, especially if you're just attaching energy and attacking with it. But sometimes that Sobble was able to get you a Remoraid to your bench because it lets you search up to 3 Rapid Strike Pokemon. So if you were playing the 60 HP Rapid Strike Sobble and the 60 HP Rapid Strike Remoraid, you could like get out of some holes if you had like a dead hand early because of that attack. But like now I think I'd be laughed at if I showed up with a 60 HP Sobble somewhere.
Yeah, you're going to have to play Basculin or Alolan Vulpix, bro.
I mean, like, you can't always search those cards out in your first turn. You got bad hands, Josh. You got bad hands.
Dead hands, bro.
So having another attack for consistency was great, right? It just upped your percentages of amount of times you got to play the game. But now that decision's been taken away from me to a certain degree. So that's why I feel like this Invite Evil is great. Don't get me wrong. We should be playing it. But like, that decision might be kind of out of your hands if you're playing into a dragon heavy meta. So something. Maybe
it would have been better. Like maybe it would have been better if you got 2 dark Pokemon and it was 70 HP.
Dude, 100%. Dude, if it just said 1, just go get 1 dark Pokemon and it had 70 HP, like no question we're playing it, right? But because it says 60, it's like,
yeah, I understand.
I'll probably still try the Invite Evil one. And of course, like always, and you play a lot of Vulpix and Hisuian Basculin, which I guess Hisuian Basculin gets it to the bench. So there's a couple other search cards, probably Zarude, which has the, search up 3 on your first turn. You're just always going to get Marnied or Ionoed or End right after you do Invite Evil anyway. So once that happens to you, you're just like, 70 HP. We're just playing the 70 HP one. Don't have to worry about a Marnie then.
Bro, don't remind me of all the times I've got Marnie End or Ionoed or anything like that.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Brutal.
Terrible thoughts.
Brutal. There's better, I'm going to argue this too. There's better things to be doing with Dark on turn 1, right? Than Invite Evil that costs 1 energy. You could Ascension into Galarian Weezing. You could be attacking with Hoopa or Spiritomb. So like also, that's something to take into account when you're considering the Purloin's Invite Evil. What are you going to realistically be doing on turn 1 often enough? So anyway.
Yeah.
Thoughts
Purloin
out there for everyone.
Yeah, that attack is just there if you're in a pickle, if you got to use that attack. After that, we got Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is a card. It is a card with an A ability. Look for prey. Once during your turn, may use this ability. Your opponent reveals their hand, and you put a basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less that you find there onto your opponent's bench. If Dark had a decent control, like Sableye, I know that Jeff mentioned that before, that you might play this card in that control list or any control-ish style list, because you can just kind of bench lock them into maybe in a basic that they don't want there, or maybe you can just help them out, be a pal, and put their basic on there for them. That way they don't have to wait till the next turn, and they have that way to evolve on that next turn. You're just being a good old pal. But Mandibuzz, it's just a card. I don't think it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be good, bad, terrible at all. I just thought it was interesting that you could look into your opponent's hand, put a 70 HP or less basic onto their bench.
Yeah. Interesting for sure. I mean, did you mention Erica's Invitation? It's just,
I did not. I did in our talk, but I did not right there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Erica's Invitation.
Yeah. Just a once per turn Erica's Invitation. So it's kind of interesting. I wish, like, when you look at a card like this, you're just like, I wish it had a snipe attack for 70. Like that would be the synergy, right? Like, hey, grab a card from your opponent's hand, put it on the bench for 70 HP or less, and then also it's an attack for 70 snipe. Even 3 energy 70 snipe would be super interesting because it's like, hey, guaranteed KO after like a triple acceleration energy or something like that. So cool.
It would be a lot better though. It'd be so much better if it said put that. I think Erica's invitation also says this, but it says put that Pokemon into the active spot.
Okay.
And if it said that, I think it actually would be really good and have some synergy with some different Pokemon such as Guzzlord or Hoopa or something like that with an easy to knock out attack. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, this is for you dark control players eventually, to have some fun when you're trying to bench lock. But yeah, that's that. And a buzz.
Yep. And a buzz. Then you got Scolipede. We got a bug that poisons. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, the attacking Pokemon is now poisoned. Has the ability Poison Point. And then you have a very popular dark Pokemon with poison attack, Venoshock. 1 dark, 1 colorless, 90 plus 90 if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned. And we see a lot of different Pokemon in dark with poison attacks. I think actually this might be one of the better Scolipedes with a poison attack. I actually think it might be the best one. So if you're into the poison archetype and dark, I know I have a buddy that loves the poison archetype and dark, and he might actually end up playing the Scolipede just because there are so many different poison routes that you can take in dark. There's just an incredible amount, and you can actually get it going pretty decently. I don't know if we've ever went the Brute Bonnet route, but you have Brute Bonnet to get poison out as long as it has the booster energy capsule attached to it. You also have Galarian Wheezing just to get some poison out there as well. And Galarian Wheezing, I think Jeff just put this up here because he knows that I hate Galarian Wheezing, and not because it actually has any synergy with Scolipede besides poisoning, but I think he just wants to bring up old feelings that I have towards this card.
Yeah, I remember them for sure. And I said, hey, how am I going to piss off Josh tonight? Let's throw Galarian Wheezing up on screen. But I mean, Galarian Wheezing single-handedly makes the dark poison archetype work, right? Like the reason why dark works in poison, whereas grass has struggled, is because you have a poisoner on an ability lock that's a pretty beefy that can be ascended into on turn 1 going second. So like, Galarian Wheezing is the king of all poison. It's the best poison has to offer. And then there's some other cute things you can do. And the Venoshock stuff is kind of what we talked about in grass, right? It's like, it's powerful. Don't get me wrong. 180 for 2 is powerful. It's just like when you don't have those synergies working, it's not powerful. And so you really need some help to get that going there. Scolipede is probably the best one, like you said. I have to go back and look because I remember ordering some psychic Scolipedes. Because it used to be, poisons were part of the psychic archetype. So I used to have my first poison deck was actually a psychic poison deck before dark had kind of taken over that role. So I'll have to go and look and see what those Scolipedes look like. But I think this is the best one. Stage 2s in dark are tough because of the consistency. We've talked about that quite a bit over the course of this podcast. When trade is your only really consistency piece, can you get a stage 2 into play quite often? And one of the best things about the poison archetype up until this point has been a lot of them were stage 1s. Some of them attacked for free. There's like the Quillfish that attacks for free. There's the Toxicroak that like doubles up. You got the Stadium. So there's a lot of good things going for dark when it comes to poison. I think that Scolipede is ambitious, but fun.
Yeah. I think you also have like the Toxapex line that does quite a bit as well. I think
it's, 1 energy. It does like 10 plus 160 if it's poison, because I think it has a Venoshock attack for 1. That's kind of like ridiculous. So there's a lot of different cool things in poison. When you look at the top performing poison list, they're all just Galarian Wheezing decks. And then when you look at decks that try to be like more Venoshocky, you just don't see a lot of good results from decks that are trying to attack in under the condition of poison. So again, fun and ambitious is where I'm going to end it.
Yeah. I think it's depending on what you're going into it with it. Like I was playing metal muscular nose Copperaja into things like this, and the poison was just killing me. It was killing me because I could never attack because I'd always have too many damage counters or something like that on there, whatever that attack was. And I was like, man, this is terrible. I hate this.
You got to play your Crystal Cave, dude.
I know. If only you could get it out. If only you could just search it out.
Yeah, these dark stadium, but they're playing so many stadiums in these dark poison decks because they have the 2 poison buffs, plus they're probably playing parallel to some degree to kind of disrupt too. So it's like getting your Crystal Cave to stick is just so tough.
Yeah, Galarian Wheezing, man. Let's get off that slide. We got Haxorus. New Haxorus coming out. 170 HP as well. Stage 2, both of them. They have different attacks, however. We have the new one, 2 energy, 2 colorless, crosscut, 80 plus 80 if your opponent's active Pokemon is an evolution Pokemon. So that's 160 for 2, which is not bad by any means. Then we have 1 fighting, 1 metal, 1 colorless, Axe Blast. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it is knocked out. That's more of an attack for standard, I believe. But it can still work against the likes of colorless. Colorless has a bunch of big basics. Dragon has a bunch of other Dragon decks have a bunch of big basics. So Axe Blast isn't too bad of an attack going into what's good in the GLC meta right now. But you have the old Haxorus, which has Bring Down the Axe. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any special energy, it is knocked out, which again, that just kind of knocks out everything in colorless, basically, if they have a special energy attached, or anything with a special energy attached, to be honest. And then you have Dragon Pulse, 1 fighting, 1 metal, 230 damage. That's knocking out pretty much everything without HP modifications, but you got to discard the top 3 cards of your deck. It's not the worst thing. We've played Garchomp before, and you have to discard 2 off of that, and you're hitting for 160 with that. So this Dragon Pulse is definitely worth the risk a little bit better than Garchomp. Garchomp, I still think, is the better card because of its ability. But
and Gabite.
It just
Gabite's
and Gabite's just so good. But this Haxorus, the new Haxorus, it's not bad. I think it just depends on the style and the meta that you plan on and going up against.
So I would argue that it's just bad and that the other Haxorus is good. Because I mean, like, when you think about it, like the Haxorus, the new one getting printed in the black, whatever, White Flare, Black Bolt, whatever the set is we're talking about. The damage cap is 160, right? 80 plus 80 for 2 energy.
Yeah.
But like Haxorus, for those same energy requirements, is doing 230. Sure, it's not, colorless energy cost. It is a fighting and a metal, but that second attack on Haxorus is a fighting and a metal anyway. So if you were ever going to Axe Blast, you're already Dragon Pulsing. And I don't know any basic that's got more than 230 HP. What does Dodonzo have? Like 150? So you're already taking care of any basic for 1 less energy cost with Dragon Pulse. Because even Okidogi with its ability buff is still 230, right? So just Dragon Pulse. I mean, like, to me, it's just play the old Haxorus. The new Haxorus is just interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's like on paper is a good card, but like the other Haxorus is just leaps and bounds better than it. And you can only play one of them. Just play the good one.
Yeah. And I mean, Wishy-Washy, 180 HP, but you can take that out with 230.
230 is big. 230 is big.
Easy. 230 is bigger. Easy. I'm not against you at all.
I will fight you, Josh.
I'm not even going to give you pushback because I don't disagree with what you said.
Let's fight. Let's duke it out right here.
Let's do it right now.
I'll play a deck with the good Haxorus.
Wrong way.
The back. Thumbnail.
Perfect thumbnail. Next we got Harley Quinn. However you want to say this. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck, then flip a coin. If heads, you draw 5. Your opponent draws 3, and vice versa if you are tails.
Why, Josh? Why? Why did you put this on our slides?
because it's Harley Quinn, bro.
Again, each card's getting an illustrated art. That's what we were kind of talking about. The illustrated art for this is going to be kind of cool. I have to bet, right? I haven't seen it. But It's got to be cool.
Yeah, I haven't saw it either, but it has to be good, right?
Yeah.
It has to be good for this.
Just play.
This card isn't good, but definitely like it might not ruin you, and it might be funny to have in your winning list depending on where you go.
All right, so if you make a fake format where every single card in your deck has to have a coin flip involved, this would be a fun card to play, right? Just like imagine. Because, now that I kind of think it up, that would kind of be fun if we were just to be coin flipping. Like, there would be no skill involved, just up to the coin flip. But this would be fun to play.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Harley Quinn, top tier in the coin flip format. Next up, we got Hilda. Hilda is search your deck. Yeah, it's pretty decent, pretty good. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon and an energy card. Reveal them and put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. It would be cool if it just says search for a Pokemon, but then it would be way too powerful. So evolution Pokemon, it definitely is not bad by any means. It lets you search for an energy, so that can be special or basic depending on your needs at that time. And it's just very close to Pierce, which lets you look for an energy card. Just any energy card. So that could be special. And it doesn't even have to be dark energy. It can be whatever energy that is available to you in that deck and a dark Pokemon. So Hilda.
I would argue that Hilda wouldn't be busted if it said any Pokemon instead of evolution Pokemon. Because
I just think it would have more flexibility.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would be a good card. Don't get me wrong, but like Piers doesn't even see universal play in every dark list. So like when you think of it like that, would Hilda see play in every single type? Probably not. It would be another boost to Dragon and Colorless though, which is maybe something we don't want to see.
Yeah, it might just be dependent on the deck or the archetype that you're playing.
I mean, like think
that's always a thing.
This would be kind of busted in Okidogi, right? Like go get Okidogi, go get a special energy. Yeah, that would be kind of busted.
But yeah, I think it just depends on the archetype that you put it in. So search your deck for an evolution Pokemon, I think, is the perfect buff, non-buff, depending on how you want to look at it for the card. Definitely a card that will most likely see play. And we'll see. We'll see how it does.
And what types, Josh, do you think are going to benefit most from a Hilda?
Hilda, you're looking for an evolution Pokemon and an energy. I can kind of see this in water with the special whales. You can look for your special energy with your evolution.
Okay. See a lot of this is where
what else?
Dragon's like the go-to, right? But like a lot of Dragon lists have started cutting evolution Pokemon. So I think any Dragon list is probably still running Gabite and Garchomp, right? Probably still wants this to some degree. But if you're running more of like a, like the newer style basic only versions, this might not be something that you're considering.
This might be good in colorless if you're playing like a Porygon Z build. Crazy code.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that. I think sneakily, I think Psychic, Josh, is maybe a card that wants this, because if you think about like this getting you like Xatu into the energy to attach and draw, like it can get you out of some holes. Plus the evolutions are just so important. Getting like Kirlia or Xatu or even Malamar online just seems really important for that deck. So I could see this being really good in Psychic as well. Kind of like a more precise search in that deck that sometimes it's just like, I'm going to go get a draw supporter with my Gallade because I need to draw into those two cards. While sometimes Hilda just gets them for you.
Yeah, Hilda can definitely do that for you. So yeah, I think Hilda and Psychic would be really good. Being able to just turn it into a draw 2, as well as just have your evolution and energy. Yeah, I don't think it'll be too overpowering right now. I think it's a pretty good card that you can just, kind of fit into most decks.
Yeah.
Without having to worry too much.
Balance. Good and balanced is what I would say. And we'll see if I eat my own words once all the Dragon lists are playing Haxorus and going to get double Dragon energy, smack you for 230. But
playing Haxorus before Garchomp?
I mean, you want to save your Garchomp for that turn that like you're behind, right? So like if you're being aggressive, I think you go Haxorus first, especially if you have something big that you're trying to deal with. But Garchomp's good though. But I like to use that Sonic Slip for that turn that you need it. You know,
You're playing 2 stage 2s in Dragon, and not one of them is Dragonite.
I mean, I'm not going to play either of those cards in my Dragon list. I want to play all the ancient cards, baby. Give me that Sadas.
Okay.
Plus, I would play Jet Cruise Dragonite. I still love that card so much. Jet Cruise Dragonite.
Oh yeah. You're a fan of Jet Cruise, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's the free retreater one, right?
Yeah. All of them have free retreat, baby.
Cool beans. We got the worst energy acceleration in the game. We got Energy Coin. You got to double flip heads to get 1 energy out there to one of your Pokemon. Then you shuffle your deck.
Dude, this is coming from the guy who put Harlequin on our slides.
Harlequin is arguably a better card than Energy Coin.
Dude, just picture the illustration right
Actually though.
Energy Coin's like, if you're a gambler, man, if you're a gambler and you're looking for extra attachments, play Energy Coin. If you're everyone else in the world, don't.
Don't. Hey, gambling's not really that good. Don't do it.
You
lose a lot more than you win. If it's called gambling, you lose
enjoyment. You do it. I won't tell.
If it brings you, if it raises your dopamine levels and enjoyment levels temporarily, it's not worth it.
Fair.
All right. And one of the last cards we have on this list is going to be Ignition Energy. This energy is arguably better than a triple acceleration energy, if not just a better card in general, because you can attach it to your basic Pokemon and it be worth 1 energy, and an evolution Pokemon and it be worth 3 colorless energy, while a triple acceleration only works if it's on an evolution Pokemon. And if you put it on a basic, you must discard it because it is no longer on an evolution Pokemon.
You actually can't even attach it. It can only be attached to evolution Pokemon.
Yeah, it says if this card is attached to anything other than evolution Pokemon, discard this card. So if you got devolved or something like that, I don't know, because you're getting rid of it at the end of the turn. I don't know why it even has that on there.
It's such a weird but like very specific text, because you can't attach it to a basic, has to be attached to an evolution. But if there was a fringe case scenario where you got devoted, I guess it would go bye-bye.
Yeah, and I don't even know where that would happen because you have to get rid of it at the end of your turn. So
exactly,
whatever. But you have access.
You would have to devo your own Pokemon.
You'd have to do it yourself. Misclick.
Dang.
But you have colorless or just cards that can utilize triple acceleration or ignition energy. Now have access to 2 things like not Blood Moon. I always want to say Blood Moon now. Ursaluna. Galarian Ursaluna, or is it just regular Ursaluna?
I think it's just Ursaluna, baby.
Regular Ursaluna. There's so many Ursalunas right now, man. It drives me crazy. But have access to 2 triple energies, and that's cool.
Yeah, and like the cool thing in that deck too is like triple acceleration energy used to only work with Ursaluna in the deck. I mean, obviously there are other things you could attach it to, but you were only using it that way. And oftentimes, if you're kind of on the back heels with that Ursaluna control deck, you're going to be going into like a Bunnelby game plan, which is either going to let you get cards back from your discard pile into your deck, or it's going to start milling your opponent. So the fact that Ignition Energy is a card you could attach to Bunnelby and be worth one of those colorless energies on it is actually kind of a huge upgrade. Probably something you would avoid doing in most situations. You obviously would rather have like Capture or Recycle Energy on your Bunnelby than this. It is kind of like a needs must situation. Ignition Energy is an option, whereas triple acceleration energy wouldn't be. So it'll be cool. I think Ursaluna will probably want both of these cards just to kind of help with the prizing situation.
Yeah.
And then we talked about too how, maybe like if you're playing, there's like the Swellow that takes 2 prizes that has a 3 energy attack. You could see it with that. Obviously the technical machines, Blindside, ones that cost 3, Ignition Energy can help out with that. And then, Slacking in those crazy code list was another card that was definitely like Ignition Energy would be good. So, hey, just things to think about. And Ignition Energy can actually be an energy on your basics too. whereas triple acceleration could in the past. So a straight upgrade there in Crazy Code List.
Yeah, and definitely has the ability to kind of give you a little pop up or pop off turn, or kind of just give you that little edge to kind of get you to where you need to go, just to kind of give you some time to gather yourself. Ignition energy.
Nice.
Lot of little spark in your heart.
Get rid of all the doubles. Give me a triple you can use once. Seems fair.
100%. Let me do it. Give it to me. Jeff, I think that concludes most of the cards. Now comes the questions. What is most impactful to you in this set?
The cards kind of suck, Josh. Gotta be honest with you. There's not a lot of good ones.
I used to think, I don't understand what happened with the set because I thought it was going to be insane, but it's definitely not insane.
I think the issue was we got a lot of cards for the next Mega Evolution set while we were getting cards for this set. And so while they were kind of prepping, because there's a basically an electro power for fighting. It's going to let fighting do 30 more damage as an item card. That card's busted, but that's the next set. So it's all these spoilers just run together in my brain as they're coming at me from so many different angles. So, this set kind of sucks. Most impactful. All right. I think the most impactful card will be the one we just talked about, Ignition Energy. I think it's going to be really cool to see. It's a lot more flexible than Triple Acceleration Energy ever was. And the fact that we have those technical machines, we might not just see it in colorless. We might see it pop up in other types along the way. And then the fact that the Ursaluna control decks have already been putting up really good results and now have, effectively a reprint of one of the better energies in their deck. I think that that's just going to put Ignition Energy kind of just over the line for me in this situation.
That is not a bad one whatsoever. I want to say for most impactful myself, I'm on the edge with between Zoroark and Hilda, but I've got a better spot for Hilda. So I'm going to go with most impactful being Zoroark, just having that extra flexibility of the card, having two of the best parts, arguably the best parts of two of some of the best, most impactful dark cards, kind of mushing them together with a little bit better HP. I think it might be pretty impactful for dark going in.
Okay.
And being able to attack a little bit quicker with a single energy Mind Jack and not having a little bit more energy conservation early on, and then deciding whether or not you have the ability to use Foul Play later on, and maybe kind of building it up on the side while you're maybe building up Guzzlord, or there's all sorts of different avenues, but I think Zoroark might be on my list for most impactful.
Gotcha. I respect that. Respect that a lot.
I respect you.
Thanks, dude. I respect you, which is why I'm going to ask you this question, Josh. What do you think the most played card's going to be?
Tynamo.
Dude, I was going to say Tynamo.
100%. Tynamo is going to be the most played. It's just auto, if they're actually most impactful Tynamo, it's going to take away so many early knockouts that could have been, because it's going to be 10 HP short.
Yeah, my bench barrier Mew was preying on Tynamos back in the day. Now it's got 40 HP. What can I do? It's all of a sudden not going to be able to get that early prize lead. But yeah, I mean, it's so obvious, right? If there's one card you can point to the set that just slides into a deck, there's no debate. It's just that Tynamo. It's going to be played in every single Lightning list, because every single Lightning list is going to be playing a Dynamotor. Just play that Tynamo. So for most played, I think it's that Tynamo.
100%.
Hilda was my backup for this one. I do think Hilda is the best card for every deck from this set, if that makes sense. If it's the universal card that can fit in everything. So just because of that, I think Hilda is probably my second option for most played.
With that being said, Jeff, I think the most overhyped card in this set is Hilda.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the amount of hype and just gung ho for Hilda, I think that it's going to be the most overhyped card, and it's not going to be as impactful as it could be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So to counterpoint that, I think like any card that just says go get a special energy is like pretty good. You know, like
Yeah.
like we're playing like, you know, Professor's Letter that says go get 2 basics. Well, this just says go get a special energy. If Hilda just read that, I'm like sitting here being like, I bet people would probably still play that in some capacity, right? Like just go get a special energy. So overhyped is tough for me with Hilda just because of that. Just like getting any energy in any type is just so good. I almost wonder if people have considered playing Piers just to go get the energy. But yeah.
I think I did at one point for special energy. I was like, I'm just going to play Pierce for the energy, not even the dark.
There you go. So how are you overhyping Hilda? But
because it was an overhyped idea and it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, so I took it out.
Gotcha. It does sound like you cooked too much with that one. For me, overhyped is tough because like I almost feel like any card that we're even hyping up a little bit from this set is fits this criteria, right? Like people that haven't been GLC old heads for a while, like came in and were like, oh dude, this Inferno Fandango Imbor. So like that card could be overhyped because like Rain Dance and Fire hasn't proven to be quite effective. You know, the Zerork that you mentioned. The Zerork has felt a little mid since the DCEs have been gone. Just because of that. And so now you got triple energy foul play cost. Is that going to be good? The 10 damage off of the Mind Jack feels kind of rough too. Now you're doing, 90 instead of 100 if there's 3 bench Pokemon, and that could matter to a certain degree. So the Zoroark feels a little watered down, even though it's more flexible. And so that to me could be overhyped too. I
think my most impactful and my overhyped were in between. You could put Zoroark and flip it to Hilda. Like they're interchangeable of the overhype and most impactful, I think.
Yeah. Which again, I is not like an indictment on these cards. It's just that this set's not overly powerful, and that's not what it's really designed to do, right? Like you can see where the design was, get some pretty cool cards into the format, get some cool optimal basics. Really, the winner for us all here is optimal basics, right? We got a new Dynamo. Yep. Got that new Tepig. I mean, that's what this set's about. But,
yeah, and also this set isn't necessary. It's still like, I think it's a main set.
I think it's actually off the main set.
Yeah, it's a special set. You're right. Because they got holographic energy.
The only reason why
it's like a special set.
There's no Full Grip Games 1K after it. So
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a special set. It's 5th gen. It's 5th gen, and they have art cards for every one of them, which is crazy. It's awesome, actually. It's 5th gen.
Rate.
And, yeah. For me, like this set is like as mid as Scarlet and Violet was whenever it first came out. I was like, man, this set, but it's cool. There's like Zekrom is going to be cool.
Mm.
I'm getting into some standard right now, but I think Zekrom EX is going to be pretty cool. And Lightning List and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why you don't see anything super impactful, because it's a special set. Now, not to say that like in Shrouded Fable or Fabled, I think it's Shrouded Fable, we got like Night Stretcher, which was an awesome card. We got Dusk Noir, we got Okie Dokie, we got some incredible cards that came out of those sets. I believe they came out of those sets, and it was really cool. And that was like weirdly a special set that we had, like a special set that gave GLC a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Special sets usually have nothing.
Yeah, we're spoiled. We're just spoiled. That's what it is. We've been spoiled by the card reveals recently. There have been some pretty cool ones, and this one's just like, there's Hilda.
Yeah. It's all right though. It's all right, man.
It's all right.
And we love GLC, and I think that me and Jeff probably have the same favorite card. and we're gonna say it on it. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, say it. Okay,
3, 2,
all right, you ready?
1.
Harlequin.
Oh, dang. I actually was like, I should say Harlequin here, but the answer is just Dynamo, dude. I'm sorry.
Dynamo, 100%.
Yeah, the 4, sick. 2. You gotta get that illustrated art.
Yep, Dynamo is definitely one of our favorites.
Yep, for sure.
All right, but I'm always excited for a new set to come out just because there's access. You know what? I think my favorite is actually the energy cards. The energy cards coming out of this set look pretty awesome, especially the holos. The holos look really good as well, and they might be rivaling my favorite, like 151 holographic energies. I keep on finding new holographic energy that I love. I know, and these new ones are really cool, especially the metal. But they kind of have like a very metallic look to them.
Ooh.
I enjoy them very much. But
I'm intrigued. I haven't seen them, but now you're making me go Google them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look at them. They look really nice. But that's pretty much it for flare bolt and black flare, white flare and black bolt.
Color adjective,
color adjective, all sorts of different stuff. But hope you guys enjoy the set. Hope you guys have a great week. Remember to stay thankful. Thank you guys for watching the Unfazed Facts podcast. I'm Josh Benson, and this has been Jeff Baisch, and we'll see you guys in the next one.